know what time it is. Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang with Steel Sharpened Steel after dark.
Hello, Sharpies. We've got a Wonder Twins episode today. Wonder Twins activate! Oh, we're on the right side of the screen. Ching! So, we have a couple of big things. Obviously, we had our big midterm election show. Thank you for sticking with us. Joy had a big old bottle of wine, and we had a big old show of commentary. How are you doing today in the aftermath of those elections, Joy? Yeah, you're in Georgia, so yeah, I understand the teeth. Yeah, bruh, I got it.
Bruh, I mean, well, here's something that you're not going to see reported because it happens in small pockets. Look at the red. Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, we are. We got the.
But the cackling glee that I have seen from time to time, especially as I drive up towards Athens, Georgia, or north of Atlanta, or south of Atlanta, or east or west of Atlanta. The whole don't ask them what's in my mug, girl. It is
felicitations.
Tea with Ray and Nephew's overproof rum in it. So there you go. It's really delicious. It's basically sorrel punch, except spiked. But like just the whole, the runoff, we're gonna run over, and they're leaning into the bullshit. They're leaning into the whole Herschel Walker thinks it's a race. He's gonna run. They're like, he's gonna run him down. He knows how to run. Because one thing he knows how to do is run. I bet you he runs all over. They're actually having fun with that bullshit, and it's really, really aggravating. And you know what, Anthony? We need feet on the street and boots on the ground. Now, yes, we've had feet on the street and boots on the ground. And here's what I want to talk about real quick. Stop acting like we ain't turn out in record numbers to vote.
Thank you.
Stop acting like we didn't have 87% of Black men and 93% of Black women vote for Stacey Abrams. Stop acting like we didn't have more voters than we've ever had in a senatorial election this past week. People are turning up. The problem is, it's a lot of rednecks out there. It's a lot of racists. It's a lot of people who choose the party of hate. And this is what's so great about the GOP right now. It doesn't matter who you hate. They got something for you. You hate women, you can vote Republican. If you hate people of color, vote Republican. If you hate anyone that might be coming in to make you work harder because they're better at your job than you are, so they're taking your job, then you vote Republican. If you hate welfare, even if you're on it, vote Republican. If you hate any other ethnic minority, and I'm not going to call any names because even to say the name triggers a lot of problems. So, if you hate ethnic and religious minorities, if you hate anybody, Republicans where it's at. They've got a platform for you to espouse your hate. The Democrats are very much about let's be nice to each other, let's include each other, let's welcome each other. And if you hate somebody, you ain't trying to hear that. And there's a lot more people that hate somebody than want to see everybody succeed or just cool and staying in their lane. And that includes that other, 6% of Black women and 13% of Black men. But here's the other thing. Stop acting like that swung the election. We only make up 13% of this country. We make up all of Atlanta. All of Atlanta blue as fuck. Right. We cannot outrun the sheer numbers of Georgians who would rather, they don't care if they're an ethnic minority or if they are a woman or if they are LGBTQ. As long as their party lets them hate somebody else, they'll take the jabs, voting against their own interest. We cannot outrun that.
And the truly amazing thing is that what you're not hearing is, well, the votes that were counted on election day, if Herschel had more votes than Reverend Warnock, you'd hear, oh, he won. But because Reverend Warnock is the one who's in the lead. Now all of a sudden you got to have a runoff. It's not just the person with the most votes wins. Now it's got to be a runoff because that's the way it is. And quite frankly, the thing that disturbs me about runoff and stuff like that, last time I checked, they were still at 98% of the votes.
Mm-hmm. And Cobb County is still out there.
And Cobb County is still way out there. So I don't even know why you're setting up for
it.
Wasn't it 11,000 votes plus that were in like late send outs or didn't go or something. So
got messed over.
Correct. So I don't even know why we're calling it a runoff. I mean, you could say that the election has not been decided, pursuant to a final tally of all the votes. But to say you're going to runoff, that's because you got a Republican infrastructure that's trying to paper over the fact that Warnock is actually winning right now. And if those votes come back, and he gets over 50% plus one vote, ain't no runoff.
Right.
You ain't got to certify right now. You don't have all the ballots counted. Why are you not counting all of the ballots? Stop now. Stop now and just give them the win. You can just do that.
That's what they did.
Because that's what Donald Trump did. Hey, Brad Raffensperger, I'm winning right now. Stop it. And speaking of Donald Trump weighing in on shit he need not have ever weighed in on.
He needs to weigh in on the scale and see what his H1C is, I'm saying.
Well, no. I want to talk about another thing because he can't help himself. This is the man who had the nuclear football, who shows the disposition and the mental acuity of an infant child. And
can be quiet when they need to be.
That's true. Maybe a colicky. Let's say the disposition of a colicky baby then. Okay. And he went on a screed today because he decided he wanted to jab Ron DeSanctimonious, because that's what he came up with. That's way too many syllables for you, Donald.
No, he didn't come up.
Well, I know he actually catched it from somebody else, but he's adopted it now, so it's his nickname. Like Little Marco and everything else. So he decided he was going to jab at Ron DeSantis. And in the midst of jabbing at Ron DeSantis, he said something which I'm sure Fonnie Willis would have been thrilled to pursue. Because what the boy done said is that basically, Ron DeSantis was losing. And they were counting all those ballots in Broward County. And I called in the FBI and had them stop. And then Ron won. Now, we can rewind. We can go in the Wayback Machine. In 2018, the margin of victory of Ron DeSantis over Andrew Gillum was razor thin.
Yeah. It was in the thousands of votes.
Not the tens of thousands, not 80,000, not bloop-de-blop-de-bleep. Like
4 digits.
Not many at all. And I don't live in Florida now, but I know a lot of our Sharpies do. And you can say what you want. Broward County is not a county that is overly populated with the clears. So it's a lot of Black folks in Broward. It's a lot of Black folks. That's Miami adjacent. It's a lot of Black folks. And so one of Trump's main arguments all through the big lie and election denialism is that after the ballots and they were bringing in ballots and suitcases of ballots for Joe Biden and I won by hundreds of thousands of votes, okay? Hundreds of thousands in Georgia. There's no way I didn't. But all I need is 11,000 votes. Come on, Brad, you got to be a friend. And so in the midst of doing all that, now he is saying in 2018, he did a dry run. He did a dry run in Florida and used the full force of the federal government agents to put his thumb on the scale of an election. And
That's illegal.
It's super illegal. Super duper illegal. Not that he would have ever been, accosted with it while he was in the office, but he's not in the office. I don't know I'm going to look up right now, Broward County DA.
You know what, Jason? You make a hell of a point. If we
What?
look back over, he says that anything the GOP accuses folk of, they're doing
Oh,
themselves.
they're doing themselves. Oh,
Think
absolutely.
about the voter fraud and how many Republican people, individuals across the country, have been caught voting twice with full knowledge that they were cheating and creating, committing voter fraud. You know, but they want to bring forward the one woman in Texas who didn't know she couldn't vote. Not that she voted twice, not that she didn't vote in her own precinct.
Right.
She didn't realize that her probation stopped her from voting. And they gave her 20 years. 20 years for that. Meanwhile, it's Republicans out here who happen to be white, who have voted twice on purpose and bragged about the fact that they cheated, and they aren't doing jail time at all.
Sure aren't. And much less grabbed up in their front lawns by Ron DeSantis's friendly issued warrants, right, where the cops don't even know what the hell they're actually doing for. I'm going to bring attention to you to Mr. Harold F. Pryor, who has more melanin than me and Joy put together. And he is the Broward State Attorney.
You have a picture of it?
I'm going to try to download it now. I'm going to share it with y'all. Harold Pryor. I'm going to put it up in a second, but he is the state attorney, the Broward State Attorney, which is Florida's 17th Judicial Circuit. That is not the same as the DA. But
I'm seeing the chat go by here and they're talking about, sending in dead mothers, absentee ballots, stealing votes, voter fraud. Yeah. Aside from the voter fraud issues that they accuse other people of and are doing themselves, let's not forget the human trafficking.
Oh.
Let's not forget using illegal services and illegal labor and not paying them. Trump did that himself.
Exactly.
Right? Allegedly, so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah. But, and he also buried his first wife in a golf course.
Y'all need to check the casket.
This is Harold Pryor.
Well, he black.
That I said he had more melanin than both of us. Got a wife and 2 kids too. Mm. And according to his website. So this is not a county where one imagines that Trump would find solace, even though it is close. It is next door to Mar-a-Lago, as Michael Cohen says. He calls it Mar-a-Lago, which is a pretty good portmanteau. I actually like that. So what we have is a situation where, once again, this idiot who's talking about a big surprise that he wants to announce on the 15th, which is right around the corner, that's only 4 days from now, he's going to make a big announcement. Now, I said on my Facebook page, if they don't take the Senate and the House, if they are rebuffed, and so we're going to be talking about the Senate in a few minutes, but if they don't win either, I don't think Trump would declare. And this is why. Because right now, the GOP is paying his legal bills. If he declares as a candidate, a couple of things automatically trigger. First of all, fundraising caps trigger. Right now, he's just a loudmouth. And so super PACs and all that stuff, they're raising shadow cash and he's doing all his little chutzpah things. Once he becomes a candidate, automatically the single donations cap at the federal cap. 2, the GOP says, we're not going to pay your legal bills anymore. If you declare, we're not going to pay your legal bills anymore. And any lawyer who has ever worked for Donald Trump knows, unless somebody else is picking up the bill, you might as well not represent the boy, my boy. Because he ain't gonna pay you. Now, I don't know who wrote that $3 million check to that lawyer who's been fighting stuff that has been failing him in Florida right now. But with the federal investigation into the Mar-a-Lago documents, if you get this voter intimidation, voter meddling, all that other stuff going on in the state of Florida, you are done. And Ron DeSantis will be tap dancing on your grave, bro, because he does not like you. And the crazy thing about the article and everything he was saying, he's not wrong. Donald Trump made Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Up until Ron DeSantis took office, Ron DeSantis was trying his level best to buy a condo in Donald Trump's asshole and set up shop and live there and expand by multiple units, get a whole floor, and occupy his prostate. That's what Ron DeSantis, Occupy Ass Street. What Ron DeSantis was trying to do was literally ride Donald Trump's hemorrhoid stains into the Florida governorship. That's what he was trying to do. That is all true. Donald Trump is not wrong. Ron DeSantis, a hit dog will holler, Ron DeSantis was getting the paint slapped out of him.
He was. And Trump came in
and Trump swooped in and had huge rallies and made everybody believe that DeSantis was his boy, and that was enough, especially when he put his thumb on the scale. So this is why this story is important to Steal, Sharp, and Steal, because he put Gillum's name in it.
Yeah.
In his screed. He put art of the deal to his kid and built those bricks. Remember when he built the wall with the cardboard bricks, the fold up bricks? He was a true tiresome acolyte of Trump, without question. He rode the wave, all of that, without question. However, where Trump messed up again is he in trying to whack DeSantis, he brought Gillum into it, and in bringing Gillum into it, he brought his thumb scaling into it.
And nobody even suspected that I was talking about it.
It's from 2018. Right. It's 2022. Nobody was on that shit at all, and he could not help himself. And the reason it's important to this show is because one of the co-hosts of this show is tied to Andrew Gillum in an investigation. Turnabout's fair play, ho, because guess what? You're not in charge of the FBI no more. I mean, you never were technically, but you don't have that juice no more.
They didn't like
you. Got a whole new
like you now.
No. And everybody who touched you, from Secret Service to all those people who were doing your bidding, everybody's in trouble.
I thought it was just the social media. He put out a press statement.
Oh no. And when I tell you,
that's just insane.
Listen, Ye hasn't done an official press statement this crazy. It was unhinged.
Canyon of a mouth. That is perfect.
It was unhinged. The gaping maw.
Right.
That is a Sarlacc pit of Donald Trump's
I was
face.
just thinking Sarlacc.
Absolutely a Sarlacc pit of fuckery. And that's where he is right now. So Merrick Garland, the man put out an official statement. He put it in print and then put it on live social, because he can't put it out on Twitter, because Elon Musk, for whatever reason, I don't know why Elon Muskrat has not brought him back to Twitter, but he ain't. And the Red Trickle barely happened. We're still waiting on a couple of. It wasn't even that. It was like it wasn't even it was barely anything. And so what we have right now is getting back onto what the impact is of all of these elections. We had one piece of good news that Mark Kelly in Arizona has been finally called. That was one of those races. Yes. That happened today on Friday. So 3 days after the election. It had been teetering. Frankly, they called the Mandela Barnes race in Wisconsin. He was about 25,000 votes back. I still don't like that. Yeah. You can say you can call it, but I don't like that, because when you call something, if something does end up coming back, all of a sudden now it's a thing. Well, the AP called it. Well, the AP is not the Wisconsin Secretary of State.
Right. The Secretary of State has to say it.
Yeah. Secretary of State has to certify it. And that's what things happen. It happened in 2020. Didn't none of us know on the night of the election who was going to be president? Right. None of us knew.
That's not even the first time it's happened in history. It happened with, was it Lyndon B. Johnson? It happened with somebody.
It happened with Bush and Gore.
Yeah, and years before we even had it, we were still doing hanging chads way before that.
Absolutely.
Kind of paper that
Dewey beats Truman.
Dewey beats Truman. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you can't begin to imagine what it takes for a person as colossally and fundamentally unhinged and deranged as Donald Trump to make a move that stupid. And Victoria has the right of this. DOJ, Civil Rights Criminal Investigation Unit, right away. Dick Wolf, I want a whole new series of Law and Order. Civil Rights Criminal Investigation Unit. CRCIU. Crew. We need that happening.
Here's my thing though. I'm about to be real. I'm about to bring everybody down. I'm about to harsh your high, just so you understand. We're headed for some sort of guerrilla warfare military action in the United States. It might be a civil war. It might be a couple of skirmishes here and there, but shit's about to pop off, and I'm gonna tell you why. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Trump goes free or goes to jail or something in between, because he is just a symbol of a larger cancer in this country.
You're right.
And so whether he's at the front of it or gets caught up in his own bullshit and gets swallowed by it, DeSantis is right there waiting to pick up the torch and keep it going. There is and if he's gone, you got McConnell, and if he's gone, Pence will come back out and say some bullshit. I mean, there's so many. This is what I mentioned earlier about don't hang this on, Black people didn't turn out to vote. We turn out to vote in waves, right? We can't, 13% of the country cannot save 87% of the country if they just committed to fuckery. And if you look at all the races across the country, Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter who won, they were all 50-51. 51-49, 50.5, 49.5, 53-47. There's no massive decisions, even in California. Right? Even in New York, it's still, because the Democrats continue to hold it, they get caught with their pants down a lot because they don't realize 52-48 is not a decisive victory.
It is not.
So treat it like it is. This country is purple through and through, and it will bleed red eventually, because unlike the Democrats lose, we bitch and moan, we go have a latte, we get mad, we talk to our friends, we get our Snuggie and our body pillow, and we go to sleep, right?
Not a Snuggie.
If the Republicans lose some shit, they come out in the streets with full tactical gear, and they've been waiting for a chance to let the South rise again. That shit is real.
And Mike Bartlett nailed it. This goes all the way back to 2010.
This goes all the way back to the 1940s.
But true, but I'm saying what they actually did in the midterms after Obama won, the entire GOP took the issue to the states and the legislatures and trying to get people to control those things so that they could do the districts. And when they did their redistricting, granted, there were some impediments to that because there were some states who said, no, you can't do this. You cannot do this. You're not being fair to the people of this state. Just because you got this thing, you can't just draw the maps however you want. And they, that was their operating position, though. Right. We are going to control the legislatures. We're going to control the maps. Nobody's going to be able to stop us. And there's even some fuckery afoot right now where there are people from various think tanks and whatever putting forth pieces of legislation that argue that the legislature has the sole discretion, so that the courts who try to intervene and say these maps are unconstitutional, blah, 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 they're trying to say that the legislatures have the sole discretion to draw the map, so that there are no checks on the creating of these districts. And everything in the South where you had opportunities to create majority minority districts so that Black people weren't disenfranchised, and they weren't gerrymandered, and they weren't caged, and they weren't isolated, and they weren't dispersed and split an urban district instead of it being one district, split it into 3 districts where there was impossible to elect a Black person. All of these efforts that have been going on at least since Obama came in, because that threat was so present and so real, because they could see that Black man on television every single day. It turned into a white hot intensity of effort and direction and focus. And they did it in 2010. They took the infrastructure that the Democrats were pioneering under Dean and flipped it for them, and then actually did the shit. They did it. And, Dean had that 50-state strategy, and it was all great, and everybody was loving it. And it was like, holy cow, look at what he's doing, and blah, 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 blah. The GOP was like, hold my beer. And they did it, and they went in and they took over. And since then, they have had a lock. And you would have thought in the 2020 census that the Dems would have been on top of it. Guess what?
The Dems like, what? Is something wrong? I thought everybody thought we were playing fair. This isn't, they're not even playing checkers. They over here playing go fish.
They're playing tiddlywinks.
Tiddlywinks, yes.
It's like,
actually, they're playing Jenga because they spend so much time making sure that nothing gets disrupted while they move one little thing.
Right.
While they over here bowling for balls and shit.
Right.
I hate it here.
So it's really, and the thing that is a crying shame is that one party actually does have everybody's interests at heart. They want the country to be a better place. They want the country to work for people. And there's another party that doesn't. And
they don't. Crazy. And the reason they don't, when we talk about them voting against their own best interest, there's more to it than just that. It's more to it than just, oh, well, you know, I might be on welfare. I might actually be using Obamacare right now, and I don't know that's what it's called.
Right.
But I mentioned earlier, I hate somebody else, so I'm going to vote Republican, et cetera. And that's an oversimplification, and I understand that. But the thing about what you're mentioning, you know, here's the thing. If I have to set my house on fire in order to get rid of the rats, I'll set it on fire. Because I believe that I'll find somewhere else to live. And so they look at everybody else, all the people they hate, as rats. You know, we've got to get rid of this vermin. You've heard them say the vermin, these animals, this trash, these less than human, etc. Right. I'll burn this motherfucker to the ground.
Figuratively.
Them.
Figuratively.
Yeah, figuratively. To kill everybody that I don't like. And I'm sure it'll be okay for me because I have rugged individualism. I will pull myself up by my bootstraps.
Not rugged.
Yes, I will be all right because I come from good German stock. Yeah, I said it. Let's not forget that a kindergarten is a German word. I mean, German was almost the language of this country.
Yeah, kindergarten.
Just for timing.
You know what? Anthony says, Joy and Tom, when they go low, you have to roll in the mud to let it be known. Actually, to me, when they go low, you need to get a backhoe and drag their asses.
Yes.
Dig them right up and put them into
I want that on the shirt. When they go low, you need to get a backhoe.
So I mean, I am done. When I saw this article today about the Foolie Wang, and let's be clear, we need all of these Senate seats. We can't lose anything. Nevada, where I mean, it's basically Vegas. That's what Nevada is. Nevada is Vegas, and I guess the Bunny Ranch in Reno. Catherine Cortez Mastro is
They're
like,
not wrong. We're gonna come back to this, Victoria. They're not wrong.
Yeah. She's fewer than 1,000 votes back now. She's been creeping ever closer. And again, this is one of those things they have not called Nevada, but now the narrative is already shifted to it's time for a runoff. It's time for a runoff. No, it's time to count the votes. Count the votes. That's what you need to do. Stop talking about runoff. Stop talking about gearing up the fundraising machine. I thought my email was going to be empty. Now, Raphael Warnock, God bless you. God love you. I'm Kenneth again. Get it right, Raphael. I'll give you money. I'm not going to be Kenneth, though. My name is not Kenneth.
So watch what you say.
And I just need... I need us to count the damn votes. I get that there's an impetus to do this, but that impetus is coming from the GOP because the GOP doesn't want to lose. We picked up that seat in Pennsylvania. That was our fire line. And we would have had another fire line if Mandela had won Wisconsin. We could be breathing easier, but we don't have it.
And so, Jason, media is complicit because a large
part absolutely are.
Consume is either focused on the Republican Party mission and story, or they just like the money. That's some of the problem with corrupt capitalism is you will sell your soul literally or sell out somebody else for cash.
Right. Oh, it looks like, I don't know when this, it looks, I don't think these results are the most current results, but there's only 90% reporting in Nevada. And when the 90% total was out, she was about 9,000 votes out. But Vegas and Reno, where everybody lives, those are the blue states. And then everything else in Nevada is, red, basically red. And so we got the Kelly seat, and the Kelly seat's great. But we need Catherine Cortez Masto, and we need Warnock. And so as I look at this now, Raphael Warnock is he's 35,000 votes ahead, y'all. And so there's still 1% out. And of course, we haven't gotten to Cobb. And so there's 0.6. If he gets those 0.6 or 0.61 to get us over 50%, then we're not going to have a runoff. Right. So it's like they're trying. And look, Georgia is what it is. But it doesn't mean you have to defile the truth. All you had to do was just say, just like they kept Nevada, they haven't called Nevada. You ain't got to call nothing. It's not your job. It's your job to report the news. It's not your job to stare into a crystal ball and figure out what the hell you want to say. Right. Report the news.
Runoff in Georgia because they hope that people just go with that and don't count Cobb County.
And don't count Cobb County.
I think it's going to be the 14th or the 15th when Cobb County gets their stuff together.
It's crazy. You don't get, and that should be the narrative. You're hearing it on Steel, Sharp, and Steel if you're not hearing it anywhere else. The votes need to be counted. The votes haven't all been counted. So stop it.
And Cobb County is just the biggest outlier. There are still pockets
of course.
Votes. Now, granted, they might be Republican votes, but there's still pockets. They deserve to be counted too.
Count
if
the
this
vote.
State wants to commit to its bullshit, and he technically wins, and Herschel gets more votes than Warnock, fair and square, then well, shit. But I don't think this is going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. It's wait, I'm looking at
what?
So it looks like, the oh no, that's old. That can't be right.
Boy.
No, I'm looking at the Alaskan House seat race, because that was what's her name, Palin, going against Peltola, and it looks like, because they only got that
for some great sorrel punch just now. It's great.
They've only got that one seat. She leads. That's 2 days ago.
Wow.
And it looks like the not Murkowski person won. For the
runoff happened without Kemp on the ballot. You know what, Miguel? You make a good point. In spite of the fact that Kemp beat Stacey, and unfortunately he beat her fucking fair and square, it's just there's too many people. You got to understand, it's not only that Stacey Abrams is black. Stacey Abrams is a woman.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stack it for you. She's black. She's a black woman. She's an uncontrollable black woman. She's an uncontrollable black woman that white men don't find physically attractive. She's an uncontrollable black woman that white men don't find physically attractive, that is not cowed by their power. She's everything they hate. And
she was also in Star Trek Discovery. She was the president of the entire Earth. In the last season, they brought her on to be president of the whole world. I was like, go on.
Don't think that doesn't influence.
Oh no, they're mad as hell. They're absolutely mad as hell.
I'm still convinced of this. Let me tell you my conspiracy theory. So you got to remember, right before the 2016 election, actually before the primaries really got started good, Obama was on Jimmy Kimmel reading mean tweets, and he read a tweet from Trump. It said, "Obama will go down in history as the worst president to ever happen." And Obama read that tweet, and then he looked at the camera. He goes, "Well, at least I'll go down as president." Ha! Mic drop. And that pissed Trump off and made him get serious about his fucking election. He was fucking around until Obama called him on it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get serious," and he got the fucking nomination. Then, to make it even worse, Beyonce shows up at the Country Music Awards to sing her song, Daddy Said Shoot, at the CMAs the Sunday before the presidential election. And country music people lost their shit. How did this get in here? I don't care who she is. She gonna show up naked, making my husband blah, blah. Yeah, they were mad. They were hot. And so at least 1% of people changed and decided they were going to go vote when they saw this uppity Negro on their special country music show. I'm telling you, that has an effect. See, like when movies come out, when things are shown, the timing of documentaries, all of that stuff affects people's emotional state, and we all make emotional decisions. I think Jason said it earlier. They're voting on emotion and not logic. We always vote on emotion and not logic. The reason Warren G. Harding won back in 1920 was because women got the right to vote, and they thought he was fine. And that is fucking history.
It's true.
Serious.
It is
about that.
It's interesting while we're talking about the Georgia Senate race and the person saying that Kemp not being on the ballot. There are pockets, and they're not surprising pockets, where Walker significantly underperformed Kemp. So it wasn't like a one-to-one matchup. Mm-hmm. And of course, the biggest pocket where that exists is Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So Herschel underperformed in Atlanta.
Yeah, he caught
compared,
the kid.
Right. And let's be clear. I will ride on this, that those 77,000 libertarians who voted were voting against Walker. And I don't think they come to vote for Walker because they were willing to see him lose the first time. Mm-hmm. They don't want him. And so you're going to have, first of all, it's a runoff election past the midterms. You're talking about last time it was after a general election. And when Ossoff and Warnock got in that time, it was on the heels of it being a runoff after a general election. And you had Trump depressing the vote because Trump was saying it was stolen, blah, 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 blah. This time, Trump is less of a force.
And he's busy fucking around with DeSantis. And so it's not going to be, and he doesn't like Herschel Walker so much anymore. Because Herschel Walker is kind of, he said Trump didn't make me, and Trump ain't forgot that. He
exactly, because Trump is petty and spiteful. Mm-hmm. And the thing that is interesting about where we're going in this piece of the direction is that also Herschel doesn't have the most votes. If Herschel had more votes than Warnock, then Herschel would be the winner. And it's not fair that they're doing this. He's got the more votes, and that's where it should stand. Georgia's messing it up again. Blah, 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 blah. But that's not the situation. Herschel's now a loser. A loser who said Trump didn't make me.
Like Trump said about McCain, he doesn't like
losers. He doesn't like losers.
McCain's soul. I still very much respect that man.
Yeah, he definitely made a bad choice with Palin, but he paid it back by not eliminating Obamacare. When he took that and did that thumbs down.
That was the most gangster shit I've ever seen in my life.
It was like the sunglasses that slide in on the meme. Don't. We haven't done Gangster of the Week in a long time. Dead Gangster of the Week.
John McCain was a patriot. I'm about to get a little emotional about this because I haven't had too much run. But John McCain was a patriot. I don't care what you say. He loved his state and he loved this country. And he always tried to do what he thought was right for the country. I may have disagreed with some of the things that he wanted to do, but I know that had he become president, he would have wanted to talk about it. He would have wanted to sway us to his opinion, and we would have worked across the aisle. He would have been a decent president. I voted for Obama because I thought Obama was better at the moment. And I still think my choice was right. However, McCain was a good man. And it was never more obvious than when he decided, I'm not going to ride with this bullshit because it's bullshit. Right. And we all know it's bullshit. And I'm not going to toe the party line because I love my country. And I'm not
going to hurt people.
Right.
I'm not going to hurt people because some people in my party want to hurt people.
You can still be a Republican. You can still be anything and not want to hurt people. And we used to be able to do that in this country. Matter of fact, way back when, we're talking before Thomas Jefferson and everything, you had two different parties. The losing party was the vice president. You was gonna have to deal with them no
Right.
matter what. Right.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that in many ways, well, I mean,
Can you imagine if it had been
Biden Pence?
Biden Pence.
Biden Pence. Wow, you talk about
no, it would have been Biden Trump.
Oh no.
They would have killed each other in their sleep.
That no, that never would have
been. But then it would have also been. It could have also been Trump Clinton. She would have arsenic that dude so quick.
Oh baby, she would. That hot sauce in her bag swag would have been some hot cyanide.
It'd have been cyanide.
Allegedly.
Burger.
Allegedly.
Yeah, she would never do that.
No, she would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton would never.
Oh, Mark with the nice one. That's the difference between a public servant and a public servant.
Okay, Mark Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
Boo 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 boo. I'm loving it.
Yeah, he could have been a Republican candidate in 2000. Absolutely. We look back on mistakes that we've made as a country over and over again.
I look back on all those good times. Yeah.
God, Vera, why you put this in the universe?
Yeah, please undo that, Vera. Don't take it off screen. I don't want that. You did that time. You were talking about me jinxing things. Don't you do it.
Don't you do it.
Don't you speak that into existence. We're not playing them games. We just need Stacey Abrams. I wrote this on my page. I'm sorry you lost, sister.
Mm-hmm.
Sistren. I need you to get in the Stacey mobile, get your manual transmission in check, and drive. And you need to drag these people back to these polls and make sure it happens. Make sure it happens for them.
You know what? I think that we do need to make sure we get out the vote and drive everybody that voted back to the polls, plus two more people who decided not to vote. And now they see how it turned out. I think Stacey as an individual has earned her rest. Let that lady lie down. She has done everything for this country. You know, yes.
She can rest a month from now.
She could rest now.
I mean, she can rest now, but just kick it up like in the weeks before. Listen, I don't know if she's going to run again. Kemp is term limited now. So maybe, but that's 4 more years. I don't know if she's going to have the stomach for it.
Hell, you know what? In 4 years, I want her to run for Ossoff's empty spot.
I could deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
I could deal with that. I don't think.
Just go straight to president state. We've already seen you president of the world.
You better than Kamala Harris. I'll just give you that.
She could whoop Kamala in a one-on-one.
Kamala can't run.
Kamala can't run because she has been. Now, mind you, most vice presidents disappear. What did Biden do when he was vice president for 8 years, other than make some gaffes publicly and make us laugh? Like, what did he do?
But the problem with our current vice president is that her name might as well be Kamala. Where is she? She's nowhere. She's not doing anything. And Joe is too much of a gaffe machine. She should be filling in those cracks. She should be taking up the mantle, but she's not that chick.
Yeah.
And I had big hopes for her. I thought it was an interesting play. Mm-hmm. That's good. I feel that too. I could see Stacey Abrams as chair of the DNC. I could. She could be another dean in terms of creating a national strategy that could be absolutely implemented. Mm-hmm. And you're right, Victoria, she is everywhere. And I think she, as a candidate, perhaps she got less coverage than she would be as an activist as she was in her, her post gubernatorial run life, because that's when all of her profile really exploded on the national level, because she became this person who was pointing out the degradation of the voting systems in Georgia. And so it put her on this scale. It gave her a platform to grow and express. And she galvanized the state. And if Kemp hadn't cheated the first time, we wouldn't have been dealing with Kemp. Mm-hmm. And we wouldn't have been dealing with this Brad Raffensperger BS in 2020. It's all, oh gosh, it's maddening. It's crazy to live in this country. It's only partially ameliorated for me because I'm in California. Mm-hmm. And so I'm somewhat insulated. Yeah, we got our problems, but I live in Los Angeles, California. So it's different. It's not Central Valley.
It's like living in Atlanta. Yeah, right. I live in Atlanta. I'm insulated from the rest of Georgia.
Exactly.
That's
so
why
we
I
don't
live
have to...
in the heart of the city. I live in downtown, midtown Atlanta. I live
Okay.
here because you got to get the Pookie in them to get to me. I wish you would run through the deck trying to start some shit.
Run through the deck. Listen, Vera, I love Stacey Abrams too. I think she has done a yo woman's job of handling her business.
Mm-hmm.
Stacey, I'll rub your feet, give you some chamomile tea, some hot compresses, whatever you need to rejuvenate
Where is everybody else? This is not her race. She has done everything she has put.
It wasn't her race last time, and she did it.
She was running again.
No, in 2020. She did it in 2020.
She did it in 2020. And she helped them get there again. Why does she keep having to save everybody on her own? Let's not use her as a martyr.
I'm not talking about just her. I'm talking about her machine. I'm talking about everybody who is on Team Stacey.
Okay, so Team Fair Fight. We need y'all to get out there.
Yes.
And get at it.
Yeah, not just. Oh, I'm not talking about Stacey beating the streets. No, I'm not saying that. I just say reorient your thing, reorient the machine, turn them wheels to get us this, because we absolutely need the seat. We can't lose it. We can't lose the seat. Mm-hmm. We got to have it. So, okay, I'm sorry. When Mike Bartlett posts an essay, I got to read it.
Yeah, we have 20 plus years of obvious election tampering, cheating, Bush, Gore, Kemp, DeSantis, etc. But it's the Republicans who are pissed about election integrity. Exactly. Just like you said earlier, everything that they accuse other people of is what they do.
It's projection.
Yeah.
It's absolute projection. 100%.
But
100%.
there was a comment earlier. I want to say it was Victoria. She said they're worried about. They look at the skin tone of South America and they worry about it happening in America, and they need to be worried because while they out here doing all these machinations, etc., your daughters and brothers, it is what it is, and it's their own fault for being so obsessed for 200 years with black male genitalia. If you hadn't put in a jar, maybe they wouldn't be so eager to want to see what it felt like. You brought it on yourselves. Ain't nobody told you to do all that, right? The myth, and it is a myth. The myth of how.
Why you gotta say that? Why you gotta say it like that?
It's a myth. Although they did do there was a study that came out that talked about penis size around the world, and I want to say Ivory Coast or Congo or something black as hell had the longest ones. So, but I mean, we're talking quarter inches here. So it's not like you got here and here. You got here and here, so. But anyway, my point is you're going to continue unless they reinstate mixed laws. You're going to continue to have mixed race kids. Mixed race is now on the census, right? It wasn't there 10 years ago. You had to pick a base. You had to pick a primary color. Right now, you can be all kind of chartreuse and mauve and everything. You can be anything in between. And a lot of mixed races, it becomes very indistinguishable which races you exactly mixed with. The more we do that, the more we get into the kind of futures that you see in a lot of space odysseys and everything, where everybody's just some kind of brown. And they hate that because if everybody's some kind of brown, you can't scream white power. Who white power? Where? What?
Tan power.
Right. And we already know, look at Charles, Prince Charles, King Charles, whatever. Inbreeding will fuck you up.
Oh,
damn. You can say racial ambiguity. Can't wait.
Yeah, to that point, my wife's Jack and Jill chapter, and she was on the committee that started this. They had this holiday boutique, and so this post these kids who age out of foster care and don't, some of them have young families, and so they don't always have a whole lot of money. So they had what they called the holiday boutique. And so I was the Santa because I was racially ambiguous enough to have a white beard, and the Latino kids and the black kids and even the white kids could sit on Santa. I'm California Santa, so I could just be tan, or I could be Latino, or I could be black. Yeah, racially ambiguous Santa. Every child gets a Christmas. That was my little theme song that I had for that. And so this is how the browning of this nation is actually being made manifest. It's real. You want to see the future of America? Wonder skin powers. Other hand. You got to point the other way. You got other hand. Pointing
Why?
to the middle.
I'm pointing to the middle.
You're not. It's reversed because of your camera. Use the other hand. Just do what I say. There you go. Oh, Wonder skin powers activate. This is the future. Here we are. See us, love us.
Right.
This is what's happening. So
everybody about to be brown.
Everybody about to be brown.
And here's the thing. Once you get into the browning is it really? Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for co-signing. I forgot that I mirrored my camera the other day because I kept doing this. But fine. I will do it this way. What up? Shut up.
Oh Lord, yes, United States of Beige. That's right, Vera. But you were saying you were saying something to Anthony. You were talking about Clayton Bigsby disagrees. Yes, you're right, Jason Hayes. So the biggest thing we can tell you all, we don't have a fight in Florida right now, except to pressure the Broward County DA, the Broward County State Attorney to look into this official statement by the former president, no longer president of the United States, about election interference. You talk about election fraud. Some of those ballots, in case you're wondering, Republicans, some of those ballots that he did not count were yours. Some of those ballots were yours. Now, you might not care so much because you got the outcome you wanted, but it don't work like that.
We love her.
Ain't nobody trash talk her, really.
No, we just said no. Nobody know where she at.
Right. Go find her in chapter meeting. She's my Kappa sweetheart sister too. So it's not, I'm just saying, find her in chapter meeting and tell her she got to kick it up. She got 2 more years.
She's doing what most vice presidents do, which is, I don't know what they do. There was one vice president once upon a time said that whole job was worth a warm bucket of spit. Like, I remember that quote. But
people remember what Al Gore did in the immediate aftermath.
Anyway, you mentioned the Broward County DA. Somebody asked what party he was. Was he Republican or Democrat? I could not find it, but I do know that he seems to be very involved with community causes, with upholding Black excellence, etc. So that would lead me to believe that even if he is Republican, which I doubt, he's probably a Democrat. It would lead me to believe that he will be just and fair and relatively rigorous in pursuing this, if it's possible.
There you go. I mean, that's kind of where we are. Support Raphael Warnock, even if he calls you Kenneth or Susan.
Look,
send him your money. Demand that all the votes are counted, though.
Yes. All
the votes should be counted. It don't cost no more money to count all the votes that are already there. You don't have to charge more money for that.
Jason asked this question: what other crimes does it do have to do in public? He already told you he could shoot a man in the street and wouldn't lose a vote.
He did say it.
That's the one time that he was right. He's absolutely right, because they're not voting for the person. They're voting for the image. They're voting for the icon. This is iconography at its worst, where they are worshiping this man. They're praying to him as if he were a god. He is the god.
They really are.
Of all white men.
He is the feather-winged serpent.
Yeah.
He is Harold Fernandez Pryor is a Democrat.
There you go.
The boy named Fernandez. Harold Fernandez Pryor.
That's the blackest Latin name I ever heard.
Well, it may be actually that he adopted. I don't know. See, okay, so I got to look at Harold Pryor sometimes, because the tradition in many Latino cultures is that, oh no, she Black.
What is this?
She light skinned though.
Gregory, what are you talking about right here?
Oh, this is the that's why Snyder's trying to sell the Washington Commanders.
General sues Washington Commanders owner Dan Snyder and NFL for deceiving residents.
Yeah. Ooh. And he's trying to sell, and it's Bezos and Jay-Z are two of the principals that are fronting the group.
Oh my God, I know Jay-Z buys.
Well, he let go of his minority share in the Nets.
Nobody care. I
That's true.
want them to be the oh God, yes, it'd be so awesome. Well, it'd be bad because they would make fun of it all the time. But I mean, what kind of name would they have if Jay-Z bought the Washington football team?
Well, they're the Commanders now,
Oh,
but it could be the Washington.
Yeah, the Washington.
It's your boy.
Yep.
boy.
I want them to be the jiggers that we can't have that.
No.
Yeah, because they would come out to jiggle what?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we can't. But they could be the
Washington Big Pimpins.
Something like that. Give us the name, y'all. What would you name them if you were Jay-Z?
Drop it in the chat, and we will discuss it next week. Do you have anything else, Joy, before we power down our Wonder Twin powers?
Brittany
She's
Griner
gorgeous.
is missing.
Yeah.
They do not know.
They don't know.
She is.
And even without the Mercator projection, Russia is a big place.
Russia's a big place. They put her in a prison.
Yes.
Doing hard labor for a fucking vape pen, which most of us have on us at one time or another. I remember when me and my sister went to London, and in Texas, mace is legal. It's Texas, babies can carry guns. And my sister had a can of mace that's just always in the bottom of her purse. She never took it out. And so we go to London. Nobody says shit because we're leaving the States going over there. Coming home, we got arrested.
Damn.
Detained for 3 hours because they were trying to decide on whether or not, we had brought
she was trying to board the plane with a weapon. And I mean, it's gonna sound bad, but luckily my sister has a developmental disorder, and it was easy for them to see that she didn't understand what was going on, and they let us go. Because the mace. So if the mace had been in my bag, we'd have been fucked. But the mace was in her bag, and she just said, yeah. She answered honestly. She goes, yeah, I don't know. They're like, when'd you put it in? I don't know. It's always been in there. My daddy gave it to me. Like, so, they let us go. We barely made our flight. They take this shit very seriously all across Europe. And so, but still, there's plenty of people that have gone specifically into Russia with a pound of weed and come out with just don't do it again. Now this woman has a vape pen, cannabis oil. It's not even weed. And they gave her 20 years hard labor in a gulag. And we don't know which one she's at. After winning championships for that country. You tell me once again that it's an American problem, this whole race thing. And let's be clear. If Putin had been able to annex Ukraine, this wouldn't be an issue. But Putin is embarrassed. He is embarrassed that this tiny little sliver of the former Soviet Union is pushing back on him, and the entire international community is like, nah, son. Nah. So he's being routed in many ways. It's not good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Victoria, for sharing that. wearebg.org, so we can send letters of support. I think this is one of those situations where Putin has no incentive to move on this.
No.
Unless he gets something that he considers to be valuable.
Well, and here's the problem. He wants something he considers to be valuable. And going back to the problem with this country, we've been making jokes about this for decades. They'll never take no black people hostage because we are not valuable to the United States.
Hello?
Yeah, right. Hi, we have your black. Hello, right? They'd have done better taking what's your boy with the crazy hair that went to North Korea?
Who, Rodman?
Yeah, they did better off taking Rodman. At least he's a man.
Well,
there was a movie, and again, like I tell you, media affects how we think. There was a movie starring John Travolta 15, 20 years ago.
White Man's Burden.
Was it the one where he was a lawyer?
You're talking about, I thought you were talking about the one where Harry Belafonte, where black people were on top.
I remember that movie. No.
Okay. So which one are you talking about?
Was a lawyer, and he was like a sleazy lawyer, and they were trying to get him to represent where water had been contaminating, the groundwater had been contaminated, and it killed a bunch of kids, but it killed a little black girl, and that was the one that they were hanging their thing on. And I remember the monologue at the beginning talked about the value of a life, and it said, in this country, when you're fighting for civil suits, et cetera, blah, blah, blah.
Civil action.
Civil action. That's the name of the movie?
A civil action, yeah.
A civil action. Beginning of the movie, they talk about the value of a life, and they go through all the different permutations of what can happen: live versus dead, black versus white, male versus female. And it ends with, so once it's all said and done, the worst person you could represent is a dead black girl. He wasn't wrong.
Just the actuarial tables. It's a damn shame.
Mm-hmm.
Sharpies, there is a long road to go. We have a lot of votes left to count. We have a lot of, two critical seats, absolutely critical seats that need to fall into the blue column in order for us to maintain any sort of semblance of order and justice in this country. Not to mention the fact that there are so many seats outstanding in the House that it is still possible, even probably likely, that the Republicans are going to gain control of the House. Now, that is going to be a real shit show. I know Kevin McCarthy is trying to measure drapes, but there's no indication that Kevin McCarthy is actually going to be the guy who is going to hold the speakership. It's just,
let's
not in any way certain.
We've talked about Biden's, tepid tap water response to everything. If the Republicans get control of the House and the Senate is a deadlock, we won't get anything passed. We won't get anything done. And Biden does not have the interest. He's got the balls. Make no mistake, he will put his balls on the table with anybody, but he doesn't have the interest in pushing a real inclusive socialist agenda that would be needed. And who's going to send him a bill? Nobody. So we're talking executive orders. He's old, he's tired. He ain't trying to fight all the fights. He's going to pick his battles, and it will not be for people of color, for LGBTQ, for women. It will be for safety, and probably making sure that Obamacare doesn't get overturned, et cetera. Maybe bodily autonomy, and that's a big if. So he's going to just sit back and coast out the rest of his term because he can't do anything. He'll be a lame duck.
But he knows he's not going to run again. So,
right.
I mean, we presume he's not going to run again. It'll be very interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
They need the Wakanda magic. You know what? I hope you've gone out to see Wakanda Forever. I really hope you've gone out to see that movie. If you have gone out to see that movie and you want to hear people reveling in the majesty and wonder that Ryan Coogler was able to assemble out of the ashes of tragedy of Chadwick Boseman's passing, please tune in. You can check it out on the Nerdorama page or the Morris Will O'Kelly page on Facebook, or Nerdorama on YouTube. I am on my other podcast. We are going to be talking about that movie, and I'm astounded. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I want to see it 11:20 in the morning.
It is
I'm abandoning the Delta Gyms to go see this movie.
I'm abandoning the Delta Gyms. Yeah. I'm sorry, Delta Gyms. You should be going to the movie too.
Look, they're gonna have me for 50 whole minutes, but that last 10 minutes I got a jet so I can make it to the movies.
Yeah, it is absolutely worth it. Spend your money and support this film. It is amazing. Or go multiple days.
Multiple times. You're gonna need to, especially if you go in a black neighborhood, you're gonna need to go back so you can hear what you missed.
Yeah, there's a lot. It is a visual feast. It is a long film, but
2 hours and 40 minutes.
2 hours and 41 minutes. And you have to stay. You have to stay for the credit sequence. Don't get your ass up. You don't have anywhere to go. Sit your ass down in the seat until the thing comes on, because you are going to kick yourself when your girlfriend calls you, girl, did you see? And you're like, what are you talking about? It's like, you ain't staying. Don't.
Y'all know better than leave a Marvel movie before they turn the lights up.
Before they turn the lights up. There is no second one, though. I will tell you. There's just one scene. And Angela Bassett is amazing.
I feel like this comment is out of context.
It is not out of context. And yes, they do. They show it on screen.
Okay.
Victoria. Because Namor, the antagonist of the movie, they set him, instead of Atlantis, they set him in the Mesoamerican culture. Oh. And so there's a whole narrative. I'm not going to say anything else. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I'm not.
in 12 hours.
Oh, Jason, you might as well put earplugs in because you ain't gonna hear shit if you're watching this movie. Actually, I take that back. It is in stretches somber. Yeah. But there are definitely some things that there were a couple of big lines. There were moments of spontaneous applause. It is a very, very strong movie. Very strong movie.
You know, it's funny, I'm thinking I'm looking at you, but I'm not. Huh? You over here? That's fucking. I've been looking at you all night.
The wrong way. So go see it. Go see Wakanda Forever. It is a very, very worthy addition to the mythos. It is a sequel worthy of the original. It is a sequel that celebrates Chadwick Boseman and honors him, while also crafting a very enjoyable piece of entertainment that actually, without question, I will say, and this is a teaser for the show that's to come, it is without question the best of the Phase 4 films. And it is a film that puts the Marvel Cinematic Universe back on tilt. It's not that foolishness that Love and Thunder was. It's not that discombobulated bullshit that Eternals was. It's not that unnecessary foolishness that Black Widow, not foolishness. It wasn't that unnecessary film that Black Widow was.
I liked Black Widow.
You did?
Yes.
You hated
it?
I
like the family aspect of it. I thought
no. There was nothing wrong with Black Widow. It just wasn't needed.
Oh, we didn't need it.
No, we didn't need it. And then No Way Home was a very satisfying fan experience, but the whole stuff about the spell and the confusing bullshit and blah, 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 blah. A lot of that was really tricky. And then Multiverse of Madness had its own foolishness to deal with. Shang-Chi I enjoyed, but Shang-Chi was completely separated from the rest of the MCU. Yeah. This is a movie that provides connection with the MCU. It gives you what you want. If you were a fan of Chadwick Boseman, you will definitely be satisfied. His absence undergirds the film, but it also, the plot is able to move without him. Yeah. And I think
that makes sense because the comic moved without T'Challa. Briefly. I know they did it differently, but it was very without the whole let's recast T'Challa. No, they're doing something different.
Well, and Shuri did take over, but because it was comic books, he wasn't really dead.
Yeah, he's never dead in the comic books.
No, he didn't die. It's still T'Challa. It's still the main first T'Challa that it ever was in the 1960s. That T'Challa is still Black Panther right now, even though there have been some other people that wear the mantle. It's still him. And so I'm not going to say anything else.
Don't say nothing else.
But
go see the movie.
Go see the movie as soon as you can and take somebody.
Take somebody and see it twice.
Yes. I will say this. Black women, is going to be some Black women wanting to shave their heads again because them ladies.
I can't wait to see Michaela Coel. I love her.
Oh, she's actually very striking without hair. She's much more beautiful without hair than she was like in Chewing. I love her in Chewing Gum. I love Chewing Gum. I love the theme song to Chewing Gum. But Michaela Coel in this, where she's doing the accent and it's the baldness and the lips and you've already seen her in the trailer with them knives and stuff.
She's like Grace Jones striking.
It is. Them cheekbones. Mm-hmm. You could cut diamonds with them things. Mm-hmm. She's the truth. So go see it. Thank you for joining us. I will say, did you, Victoria? Did you really shave your head for real? Okay. All right. I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Joyce Stevens.
And this is Steel Sharpens Steel. Trump is a demon. He should be indicted.
Yeah, you know what time it is. Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass. Pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick. Light it. And blow. It's time to hang